Up today, everybody. So I'm just slowly putting some of my evidence, making videos and putting my story out there. I'm supposed to be doing an interview to kind of, get all this stuff out there on the internet sometime soon. But in the meantime, I am just making my own videos and showing people some of more of the things that I've been through. Today, basically, what I'm going to be going over is another civil lawsuit and some other problems that I had that the state just totally ignored and, blatant disregard for the law. I think I already mentioned how I used to work at Papa John's Pizza. Me and my son were drugged there, and I was terminated after employees stole my prescription painkillers and drugged me and my son numerous times. So, first what I'm going to go over is here's a copy of one of the lawsuits to Mountain View Pizza, case number DV14906B. This is a motion that I wrote for default judgment. I have a bunch more stuff, I'm just not organized. But I'm going to read what it says. It says, grant relief to the plaintiff by ordering mediation to discuss an appropriate amount of relief that the defendant and plaintiff can agree and settled on. First, the plaintiff has been waiting on a response from the defendant 2 months to no avail. When you first start a civil lawsuit, there is a required amount of time that the defendant has to respond. They did not respond in a timely manner, but the state did not care. Second, the plaintiff encountered many forms of discrimination and harassment from the defendant while employed there, from talk of disliking my religion to stealing my tip money and some of my prescription medication to adulterating food that was eaten by myself and then 3-year-old son. Many more things of a discriminatory nature happened. This is just some examples, the last being one of the worst that I have evidence for and of. Now, I just want to go over something real quick. According to Montana Annotated Code, it is 3950-51-201 Unemployment General, Section 13 Gross Misconduct, and Section 19 Subsection F. Papa John's provoked violence by stealing and adulterating the food eaten by 3 children and 2 adults. Number 2, Montana Annotated Code that was broken, 50-31-202. Food adulterated, specific dangerous drugs included in Schedule V, 50-32-232. And number 3, Montana Annotated Code 45-6-301, theft. Total that I know of is $65 and 27 morphine pills. Now, this is a copy of, I used to be on morphine, MS Contin. I have 3 spinal injuries. I have a disc that's crushed and missing. My vertebrae they rub together for years and they fuse together. I have scoliosis. My hips are constantly out of place, and I have arthritis in 2 spots in my spine, and I also have knee injuries. Okay, both of my knees pop and slide out of place. For me, just not being a targeted individual is very, 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 very painful. And so, what I have here is, after they were drugging us, they drugged us a couple times, I decided to order tests so I could prove it. This is a test for myself, okay? And the reason I have part of an electronic cigarette in this test is because not only did they put it in food, I would leave my truck unlocked in the middle of my deliveries and come back and find methamphetamine in my electronic cigarette. So in my food, the time that I took this test, I was showing positive for cocaine, amphetamine, and opiates. Now the opiates I was prescribed, okay? I'm allergic to stimulants. I cannot do stimulants. Like for me, I've been smoking cigarettes for 20 years, and I still get a buzz off of a cigarette in the morning. And caffeine, I can't even drink a lot of caffeine without blood pressure medication, things of that nature. And then here's a test for my son. I was testing him back then too. And the food that, when I tested him, they had put marijuana oil or some kind of, THC in it. Or let's see. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong on this test. It was only amphetamine and THC that I was showing up for. And the opiate line is very light because I had that as a prescription. So what they had drugged me with was methamphetamine, marijuana. And the food that, when I tested my son, I tested him on a different time. This was 2019. I forget the year. It was 2 years ago. So it was 2014 or 2015. They had put THC in the food. And my son was drugged with THC. Now, I had called and reported this to various different people. I reported it to my doctor. Like, the last time it happened, and I had the proof, I called my doctor that day. And I show up to the doctor. I explain the situation, how I've been harassed for over 10 years, and how all of a sudden, drugs are showing up in my food again and stuff. Because when my targeting first started 16 years ago, people were shooting me up with methamphetamine and trying to blow my heart up in my fucking sleep. It was awful. I mean, it was awful. And this all started in Texas. So I explained it to my doctor. I'd tell her what's going on. I'd been seeing her for 5 years. I thought we had built a trusting relationship. I took a drug test there, and I don't know if you can see where amphetamine right there on the top, and it is showing negative. Now, I showed them the drug tests, okay, and I was positive for methamphetamine. They did not test me for methamphetamine, and they tried to make me think I was crazy. Shortly after, the doctor that I had seen for 5 years quit and moved. I started seeing another doctor, and I didn't explain any symptoms of schizophrenia or bipolar or any kind of craziness. And all of a sudden, they're trying to offer me schizophrenia medication. And what was even more funny is that it was a schizophrenia medication that I had just seen an advertisement for on the television that kills people. So, it was obvious that, obviously something crazy was going on. So, I wound up turning in to Montana Department of Labor and Industry, CHP, just because of what was going on. And they didn't do anything. I explained my whole situation. See, I've started writing here, and then I've got a whole other page. And I sent them copies of those drug tests and then the drug tests they gave me and everything, and they just did not want to help at all. They, at first they tried to make it like I was trying to turn the doctor in that I'd seen for 5 years. Well, that doctor, she was very helpful, and from what I understand, she was trying to help me because of all my pain issues and everything. And it wasn't her that I was trying to, turn in. It was the clinic itself for doing what they did to me. I know for a fact that the people that have been targeting me for years in Texas are probably, making up stories and stuff. And I'm pretty sure that they've been doing this for years. And funny story, both of the main people that have been doing it are spoiled fucking rich kids. I met both of these people when I was 17, and I hung out with them. One of them I looked out for, I felt sorry for, uh, and then I guess he just turned on me. I'm not a rich person. I've always been poor, and I've always been working class. But one of the main people that's targeted me the past 2 years, I think he's worked a total of maybe a year and a half, 2 years of his life. He just sits back and does drugs all the time and fucks with people and steals from people. It's amazing how spoiled people can be and how they keep getting away with it. Um, the one thing that I've got that I get a little satisfaction from is the Papa John's people that were targeting me. They all still have their jobs at Papa John's. I think I explained in one of my videos how I lost my job because after they stole my pills and drugged us, it had been going on for 6 months, and they stole tip money. I got a little upset one day, and I called them cowards and thieves. Now, the cops would not let me press charges on them for any of this after I showed them. I've got a list of text messages to the general manager, showing the timeline and stuff too, somewhere here in my stuff. But yeah, they didn't give a shit. But what I was saying is the only satisfaction that I'm getting is that I'm pretty sure, they all targeted me for a short period of time, and I'm pretty sure that they're being targeted now. They have all gained a ton of weight, like all the specific ones who targeted me. There was a couple people that worked there then that did not target me, and they looked just like they did, 2.5 years ago. But every single person that targeted me, 2.5 years ago, for the short period of time they did, has all gained a ton of weight. The same thing happened to me this last time, so I know what's going on with them. They probably just don't want to admit it, because one, they did something they shouldn't have, and two, they don't want to admit that they're targeted. They're being targeted, just because somebody might try to label them crazy or something like that. So, and then just one more thing I was going to touch on. I didn't get the paperwork out for it, but I also went and worked at Domino's Pizza for a short period of time after this, and I've got the paperwork for this also. I was being taken off of my medications because of all of this. It didn't matter that I'd been on them for, I don't know, 5.5 years at the time, been taking drug tests, did everything right. They tried to label me as, I don't know. Well, the way that they worded it is that I might be capable of abusing pain medication. They didn't say I did. They didn't say that or I guess the exact wording was I had the potential to, and I couldn't believe it. All of a sudden going from proving over and over again that I'm a good patient. I lost weight. I was taking blood pressure medication and pain medication. I was healthy. I was providing for my son. And all this happened the same time that I was illegally evicted from my apartment. Okay. So I've got here, there were days that I was sick just because they were taking me off my medication and I was in tons of pain. And as you can see, there is an allergy alert right there for stimulants. I had to go to the emergency room, I think a couple of different times here. Yeah, see, this one says the 9th of 2015. This one says the 15th of 2015. Okay, and when I was working for Domino's Pizza, they pushed it, man. They would make me work my ass off, and then I would get punished for calling in sick. Like, they had a chore list, and if I called in sick, I would have to do twice as many chores. It didn't matter that I had doctor's notes and emergency room bracelets and all this stuff. And then they wound up firing me because I have a pagan tattoo on the back of my neck, and a teenager that I worked with there came in one day. And I hardly ever worked with him. I worked day shift and he worked night shift, so we might have seen each other 30 minutes, for 30 minutes a couple of days a week. And he wrote out a statement to the GM saying he wanted me fired for my religious runic tattoos. That was his exact words. And that's what they did. They totally, religious discrimination, civil rights violations, and they totally got away with it. Nobody gave a shit. The only thing that I did is I confronted the dude the day that right before I got fired. I just asked him, and I wasn't provoking him. I was in a normal tone of voice. I just asked him because I saw a copy of it, and I made a copy of it for myself. And I said, so would you rather me have "fuck you" tattooed on my forehead? And then my son was there that day because his mom couldn't watch him. And so he was watching TV in the lobby while I was finishing up. And he walked up and I pointed to him and I said, "You see that little kid over there, dude? I'm an older single father. I have to keep a good living, and I have to support my son." And he just kind of laughed and said, "I don't care." So, just more of the BS that I go through. And like I said, I've got tons of evidence. I have evidence for over 30 lawsuits. I only tried, I believe it was 7 lawsuits because one of the 8, the last lawsuit was pertaining to the illegal eviction. So even though it's a lawsuit, it's kind of melded into the eviction process. And this state just had a complete and total blatant disregard of Montana annotated code. They didn't care. They let people break the law. People weren't responding in a timely manner. I turned in evidence. Evidence didn't matter. It just wasn't good enough. And I have overwhelming evidence. So anyway, I just thought I'd post a little bit more of that. I don't know how many people are going to be watching it, but it's just, slowly telling my story. And I know someday somebody's going to be interested in me and my son's story. So, the next video, like I said, is going to be of the new Faraday blockers I have. I have a couple of ideas now that are really cheap and inexpensive and will be very efficient. And I'm going to do that this weekend. I actually took an extra day off of work because I usually only get a day off. And I need some time to myself, and I need time to, make some more blocking and shielding materials. And I'll post some more videos on that this weekend. So you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.